There's a kind of love that doesn't just comfort, it confronts. A love that doesn't simply embrace, it exposes. And if you are truly one of the chosen ones, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Because your love is not ordinary. Your love has scared people. It has confused them. It has drawn them in like a flame, only for them to run once they realized they couldn't hide in the light you carry. Have you ever felt like your presence alone was too much? For others, like people come into your life, feel something powerful, something unexplainable, and then vanish without warning. Have you given your heart in truth, only to be met with silence, betrayal, or fear in return? That pain wasn't your fault. That rejection wasn't about your worth. And that confusion, it was never about you being broken. It was about you being set apart. Chosen one, there's a fire inside you, a fire that loves deeply, but also burns away everything false. And most people simply aren't ready for that kind of love. You were never meant to love like the world loves. You were sent here to love like heaven, to carry a fire so pure, so intense, so honest, that it becomes impossible for anyone to stand near you without being transformed. But here's the truth. No one ever told you. Loving you is a spiritual experience. And for those who are unprepared, it's dangerous because your love doesn't just feel good. It awakens, it reveals, it convicts. And not everyone wants to face who they are when your presence begins to reflect back their truth. That's why today, I'm going to walk with you through this revelation. Why your love burns those who aren't ready. Why it blesses the pure, but scorches the impure. And why your heart is a battlefield between light and shadow. If you've been misunderstood for the way you love, if you've been abandoned because your presence was too intense, if you've lost people who once swore they'd never leave, stay with me. Because by the end of this message, you will finally understand you are not the problem. You are the fire. Now, before we go any deeper, do this as a prophetic act. Comment the number 99 below. Why 99? Because it marks the end of a cycle, the closing of every connection that was never meant to stay, and the divine protection being restored over your heart. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Not just for more messages like this, but because the next few minutes will open your eyes to truths you were born to hear. This is the beginning of your healing. Let's begin. Chosen one. There is a weight upon your soul that few can understand, and fewer ainda consegum supportar. From the moment you began to feel deeply, to see through what others could not, and to care with a love that burns through barriers, your spirit began to move differently. This weight is not a burden, it is a flame, and this flame is holy. You didn't choose to carry it. It was given to you. It was assigned to you by the same hand that carved the stars and whispered destiny into your bones. And with this flame comes a divine paradox. Your love, beautiful, sacred, sincere, will inevitably test the hearts that try to come close, not because you test them, but because the fire within you cannot lie. It cannot allow illusion to remain comfortable. It cannot let hidden intentions pass unnoticed. It cannot allow masks to sit undisturbed for long. Your love doesn't just comfort, it confronts. It doesn't just heal, it purifies. And anything that resists truth, anything that was built on pretense, begins to tremble in your presence. Have you not noticed the pattern? Someone feels drawn to you, magnetized by something they can't explain. They say they feel seen, safe, at home. And you, being the one who always leads with the heart, open your arms. You begin to pour out your kindness, your insight, your energy, your truth. And for a while, they bloom in your presence. They feel clarity, peace, a strange confidence they've never known before. But then, slowly, something shifts. They start to withdraw. They pick unnecessary fights. They become cold, distant, confused. And you, chosen one, feel the sting of abandonment once again. You search your heart. Did I love too much? Was I too intense? Too real? But no. The truth is, your love did what it was designed to do. It revealed what they were not ready to face. Because the fire in your spirit cannot and will not leave deception hidden. It cannot allow someone to dwell in your sacred space unless their spirit is willing to be honest, unless their heart is open to refinement, unless their soul is humble enough to grow. This is why loving you comes at a cost, because your love is not passive. It doesn't stay quiet in the presence of darkness. It doesn't play along with lies. It doesn't shrink back to make others comfortable. Your love shines too brightly, and light, true light, always calls the shadows into view. This is why some people who once adored you ended up turning away, why others who said they'd never leave vanished when things got deep. They weren't running from you. They were running from what you made them feel inside. Conviction, awakening. The gentle but unrelenting voice of truth whispering through your very presence. You can't hide here anymore. You see, your love is a holy invitation, but it is also a divine test. Those who are ready for truth, for healing, for inner alignment, they rise beside you. They're refined, expanded, and covered in blessings they never imagined. But those who approach your heart with half-truths, manipulation, ego, or hidden wounds they refuse to face, they fall away. Because no one can remain close to sacred fire without being changed, and some people would rather walk away than transform. Let that sink in, chosen one. You are not too much. Your intensity is not a flaw. Your love is not a problem to be fixed. It is a force of divine purification. This is why God guards your heart, why angels take record of every soul that crosses your path. Because your love is not ordinary affection. It is spiritual territory, and those who attempt to step into it with unclean hands or dishonest motives, they don't just face awkward consequences. They face the fire, the same fire that has protected you from falsehood all your life. The same fire that caused betrayal to reveal itself sooner than expected. The same fire that has pushed away those who only wanted to take and consume. You may have mourned those losses before, not understanding why they left so suddenly or why they changed. But now you see it clearly. They couldn't stand the heat. They couldn't survive the test. Your love held up a mirror, and what they saw was not something they were willing to face. And here's the sacred truth. Chosen one, that mirror will always be part of you. That fire will always burn, because your assignment requires it. You were not sent here to coddle deception. You were not called to keep the peace at the expense of your soul. You were set apart to be a purifying flame, one that invites those who are ready to rise and exposes those who came only to play. This is why heaven filters your relationships, why false friends fall away, why romantic partners who cannot carry spiritual weight never seem to last, because the fire of your love demands more than attraction. It demands alignment, it demands integrity, it demands truth. And when someone refuses to meet that standard, not by perfection, but by sincerity, the fire will do what it was born to do. It will remove, not to punish, but to protect. So, chosen one, stand firm in the heat of your own flame. Do not dim it. Do not apologize for it. Do not question it. Because this fire, this holy love within you, it is the very thing that proves you were never meant to be common. You were created to carry a love that heals the honest and exposes the deceitful. You were sent to be the living proof that love, real love, sacred love, is still the most powerful force in the universe, And yes, it will burn what cannot remain, but what survives, what chooses to stay, will be forever changed. Have you ever wondered why some people look at you with admiration and others with unspoken discomfort, even fear? Why you can walk into a room and the energy instantly shifts without you having to say a word? Why some open up to you within minutes, revealing their secrets, their pain, their longing for peace, while others pull away, grow silent, or even become defensive in your presence? It is not about your personality. It is not about how loud or quiet you are, how social or private, how expressive or reserved. It's about what you carry. Because the truth is, your presence alone carries spiritual weight. And this weight, this divine authority, does not need to be loud to be effective. It is a force that operates silently but powerfully, illuminating whatever is hidden in the hearts around you. Many times, you've mistaken people's discomfort as your own fault. You thought you were being too intense, too emotional, too different. You asked yourself, did I do something wrong? Did I make them uncomfortable? But Chosen One, hear this with clarity. You didn't do anything. Your light did. Your very presence carries a vibration that reveals what is unspoken. You walk into a space, and people begin to feel things they've suppressed for years. Regrets begin to rise. Shadows begin to stir. Motives that were buried under politeness begin to ache under your gaze. It is not your fault. It is your assignment. Because the same light that comforts the broken-hearted also exposes the deceiver. The same warmth that heals those who are sincere will burn those who have something to hide. That is why you've always been misunderstood. People have felt things around you that they didn't know how to name. They've projected their own inner tension onto you. They've accused you of things you never did, simply because being around you made them confront parts of themselves they were trying to ignore, and many of them didn't even know why they were uncomfortable. They couldn't explain it. All they knew is that they felt seen in a way that stripped their masks, exposed, naked in soul. They came close hoping for affection, but affection wasn't all they received. They came seeking connection, but connection with you always includes a reflection. And some people, Chosen One, are not ready to look in that mirror. You are not like others. You cannot form shallow bonds. Your soul doesn't know how to pretend. Every connection in your life becomes spiritual, whether you intend it or not. Because you are a vessel, a mirror, a portal of divine clarity, and that clarity, that spiritual transparency, cannot be faked, controlled, or turned off at will. It simply is. That's why the room feels different when you walk in. That's why strangers feel like they've known you forever, or why they suddenly pull away without reason. Because your presence reminds their soul of who they really are. To some, this is healing. To others, it's terrifying. Not because you judge, but because the light within you removes the luxury of hiding. Let's be honest. Most people live behind walls. They've built personalities out of pain, defense mechanisms out of fear. They operate in performance, not authenticity. But when they encounter you, something shifts. They begin to feel unsafe in their mask. Their soul starts whispering, take it off, speak the truth, face what you've buried. And for some, that whisper is a blessing. But for others, it feels like a threat. Not because you harmed them, but because the presence of truth always threatens lies, even quiet truth, even compassionate truth, even loving truth. You are that truth. You carry it without needing to speak it. And this is why your friendships shift without warning. Why romantic connections flare up passionately, only to disappear when things become real. Why some people seem so enchanted at first, then vanish without closure. It's not rejection, it's refinement. Your spirit is the fire that tests. But even before the fire, your very presence is the light that reveals. Chosen One, understand this. Every time someone pulled away from you after getting close, it wasn't because you were too intense. It was because your presence revealed something in them, and they weren't ready to face it. Your light showed them the parts of themselves that still needed healing. And not everyone wants to heal. Not everyone wants to be known deeply. Some prefer the illusion. But you were not born for illusion. You were born for transformation. And that transformation begins the moment someone comes near. Sometimes even before a word is spoken. Because what lives in you speaks louder than language. So stop apologizing for your energy. Stop dimming your light to make others feel safe in their darkness. Stop shrinking to avoid reactions you cannot control. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are the mirror, the revealer, the one who carries presence. That purifies, not by pressure, but by being. And those who are meant to walk with you, they will welcome that reflection. They will embrace the mirror. They will grow from the exposure, not run from it. Because in your presence, chosen one, the soul awakens. And for those who are ready, it will be the beginning of a beautiful transformation. Some things in your life have no logical explanation. And deep down, you know that's because your life isn't governed by logic. It's governed by covenant. That's why when someone mistreats you, the effects go far beyond emotional pain. Doors begin to close for them. Opportunities evaporate. Connections dissolve. Plans unravel in their hands like sand slipping through fingers. To the outside world, it looks like bad luck. To them, it may even feel like karma. But to heaven, it is justice. Because touching you, the one who carries divine assignment, is never just personal. It is spiritual interference. It is trespassing on sacred ground. You see, your love is not just affection. It's not a casual gift handed out to anyone who shows interest. It is consecrated fire, and heaven is protective of what belongs to it. Most people have no idea what they're stepping into when they pursue you. They think they're chasing chemistry, a vibe, a connection. But in truth, they're approaching a throne, a spiritual altar. And what they do to you, how they treat your heart, is being watched, measured, and responded to by the spiritual realm. This is why betrayal doesn't go unnoticed, why manipulation doesn't go unchallenged, why those who tried to harm you eventually face storms they cannot explain. Because, chosen one, your life is not ordinary, and heaven has placed a shield of justice around you. Have you ever noticed the pattern? Someone comes into your life, pretends to love you, tries to use you, and not long after, their peace disappears, their plans collapse, they find themselves lost, stuck, confused. And you didn't fight back, you didn't seek revenge, you didn't even speak ill of them. You let go, in silence. But silence doesn't mean unprotected. Stillness doesn't mean forgotten. Because what you didn't do with your hands, heaven did with its fire. The fire moved. It moved on your behalf, not out of wrath, but out of covenant, not to punish, but to preserve. Chosen one, this is what you need to understand. You are not alone. You were never meant to fight your own battles, because your role is not revenge, it is reverence. Reverence for your calling, reverence for your heart, reverence for the light you carry. And so, heaven fights what your heart cannot. Heaven defends what your mouth does not expose. Heaven responds where your silence holds dignity. This is why you must stop internalizing people's betrayals as personal failure. They didn't fall away because you weren't enough. They collapsed because they touched something they were never qualified to handle. They walked into holy space with unclean hands. They tried to drink from sacred wells with selfish thirst. They made themselves gods in a territory ruled by divine fire, and the fire responded. It always does. Not instantly, always. But accurately, strategically, decisively. So, chosen one, look back now. Think of the ones who lied to you, used you, abandoned you, and notice how their world began to unravel not long after. Notice how the ones who mistreated you suddenly found themselves mistreated. How those who mocked you now walk silently through their own storms. How those who laughed at your faith now question their own. It's not coincidence. It's not chance. It's divine alignment reasserting itself. Because heaven will not allow what is sacred to be trampled without response. And here's the mystery. You don't even have to be aware for the fire to move. You don't have to pray for vengeance. You don't have to speak a curse. Your life is already covered. The moment someone crosses the boundary of your heart with impure motives, heaven takes note. Not because you're perfect, but because your purpose is protected. Not because you seek revenge, but because your assignment is sealed. There are angels assigned to your heart. There is fire surrounding your destiny, and that fire burns without mercy when dishonor enters your gates. This is why you always rise again, why nothing formed against you prospers, why even when you are wounded, you are never destroyed. Because your healing is fast-tracked, your justice is not delayed, your protection is pre-written. And let this be your comfort. You don't need to explain yourself to those who hurt you. You don't need to make them see the truth. The truth will reveal itself through what happens next, because loving you, chosen one, is not without consequence. To the pure, it brings elevation. To the false, it brings exposure. So trust the pattern, trust the fire, trust the silence, because heaven sees it all. And the justice of the Spirit is never late. Listen carefully. You have spent nights asking yourself why people who once loved you so deeply suddenly became distant. Why someone who once called you home now walks past your soul like a stranger. Why the ones who were so sure about you ended up questioning everything. Why the ones who said forever could not handle even one honest season by your side. And I'm here to tell you, it was never rejection. It was never your fault. It was refinement. It was heaven filtering your life, because your love, chosen one, is not light. It is not easy. It is not sugar or comfort food. Your love is a sword. Your presence is a mirror. Your spirit is a holy fire. And fire is a tester of all things. You do not have to ask people what their true intentions are. You do not need to investigate their loyalty. You don't even need to confront their masks. Your love will do it for you. The moment someone gets close to your heart, your energy begins to weigh their motives. And what is false begins to choke under the light you carry. Their smiles become strained. Their words lose power. Their enthusiasm fades, not because you changed, but because your truth revealed their shadows. And here's what you must understand. The fire within you is loyal to truth. It cannot be manipulated. It cannot be deceived. It has one mission: to protect your path by purifying your circle. That's why the ones who were never meant to stay leave. That's why some people crumble after touching your heart. Because they touched fire and thought it was a candle. They thought they were walking into affection, but they walked into accountability. You were not sent here to offer surface-level love. You were sent here to carry heaven's standard. You were sent to awaken truth in those around you, even if it makes them uncomfortable, and oh, how it does. Your very existence asks people to choose. Will you be real, or will you run? Will you heal, or will you hide? Will you grow, or will you retreat into the comfort of your illusions? And this, chosen one, is why so many admire you from a distance. But only a rare few can walk beside you without collapsing, because your love is not neutral. It is not easy love. It is holy pressure. It demands healing. It demands maturity. It demands surrender. People think they want love until they meet yours, because your love is not an escape from truth. It's an invitation into it. It does not let people stay asleep. It does not let wounds stay hidden. It does not allow masks to remain on, and that's why people either rise or run when they encounter you. They grow stronger, clearer, and more aligned, or they feel their own foundation shake beneath them and flee. And here's the paradox you must embrace: losing people is not always loss. Sometimes it is divine alignment. It is heaven removing what cannot carry the next level of your life. Your love, chosen one, is a spiritual purifier. It doesn't just give, it tests, it divides, it reveals. And when it has done its work, the work that no words could ever do, what remains is truth. So stop mourning those who could not withstand your love. Stop doubting your worth because someone chose to disappear. Stop watering down your truth to make others feel comfortable in their shadows. You are the fire, and your love is the flame that burns away everything false. And the ones who are meant for you, they will pass through that fire and emerge stronger, clearer, more committed than ever. They will thank you for it, because your love may test them, but it will also transform them. So do not dim your flame, do not shrink to fit, do not apologize for the intensity of your presence, because chosen one, your love is the filter, and anything that falls away under its weight was never truly love to begin with. Have you ever noticed how some people try to return to your life, months or even years after they vanished? How they send a message out of nowhere, how they mention a dream they had about you, how they randomly stumble upon your name and feel the urge to reach out. It's not random, it's not nostalgia. It's the residue of your love still working on their soul. Because here is a truth few people want to admit. No one ever forgets what it feels like to be loved by you. Your love marks people. It alters the architecture of their inner world. It opens parts of them they didn't know existed. It stirs their conscience, reactivates their heart, awakens their spirit. And once they've tasted that, they can't unfeel it. They might try to numb it. They might try to replace it. They might run to distraction, noise, or the illusion of safety. But nothing ever feels like you. No one ever reflects their soul like you. No one ever pulls the truth out of their bones like you, because your love, chosen one, is not emotional entertainment. It is soul activation. And once someone has been exposed to that light, they carry its imprint forever. Some will try to forget you. They'll pretend you never mattered. They'll act like their life moved on without a second thought. But deep inside, they know. They remember how their thoughts felt clearer around you, how their heart felt lighter, how even silence between you two held sacred weight. They remember the peace. They remember the challenge. They remember the presence of something divine surrounding your connection. And even if their ego denies it, their soul cannot. Because your love, chosen one, is not just love, it is a spiritual encounter. And spiritual encounters don't fade like infatuation, they echo. They linger in the background of people's lives, waiting for the day they're ready to face what they ran from. Some come back trying to reclaim what they lost. Others never say a word, but watch from afar, silently grieving the version of themselves they abandoned when they walked away from you. And some will carry regret for a lifetime because they know the truth. They were touched by fire and didn't know how to hold it. But you must understand this. You were never meant to be someone's maybe. You were never created to be someone's temporary lesson. You were sent to be a revelation, a divine interruption in the cycle of shallow love. And that's exactly what you've been. You've changed people, even when they couldn't tell you. You've healed parts of others they didn't know were broken. You've confronted lies they were too afraid to speak out loud. You've held up a mirror they tried to avoid, and because of that, your love will never leave their soul untouched. But, chosen one, that is not your burden to carry. You are not here to hold guilt for how people mishandled your heart. You are not here to chase closure. You are not here to shrink so others can feel safe in their denial. You are here to burn, to radiate, to mark, to love with such truth that even if someone runs, they run changed. So let them walk. Let them return if heaven allows it. Let them remember, but don't you ever forget. Your love leaves marks only eternity can trace, and for those who honored it, that mark became a miracle. For those who betrayed it, that mark became a memory that will never release them. Either way, your love never leaves without transformation. What they touched was never just your kindness. What they entered was never just a relationship. What they walked away from was never just a connection. They encountered a divine fire. And fire never leaves things the same. Your love, though often misunderstood, is not just a feeling. It is a spiritual environment, an atmosphere of refinement, a sacred ground wrapped in flesh. That's why people are magnetized to you, and yet few can remain. Because your presence demands purification. You weren't sent here to play roles in shallow games of affection. You were sent here to disrupt the illusions of love that the world has normalized, to remind people what it truly means to be seen and held by something eternal. That is why your love burns. It doesn't burn to destroy, it burns to reveal, to cleanse, to liberate. You are not cold, you are not cruel, you are exact. You are accurate. You are the precise tool God uses to shake hearts awake, and those who have walked away from your love. They haven't escaped you. They've escaped the version of themselves your love was inviting them to become. They couldn't stand the reflection. They couldn't carry the truth. They couldn't hold what you offered because they were never ready to carry the weight of their own healing. But that is not your fault. Because your fire doesn't negotiate. It doesn't dim itself to comfort the ego. It burns away everything that was never real in the first place. And that's exactly why your love is rare. Let this truth settle deep into your spirit now. Your love is a weapon and a wonder. It is a force of heaven. It is not given, it is entrusted. To be loved by you is to be put on divine trial, not by punishment but by revelation. To be loved by you is to experience a kind of mirror that doesn't distort, but reflects the soul in its truest, rawest form. And now that you've understood this, I ask you to do something you may never have done before. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for loving with a fire that scared them away. Forgive yourself for wondering if you were too much. Forgive yourself for ever thinking your intensity was a flaw. Forgive yourself for the tears cried over people who couldn't endure what heaven placed in you. You are not too much. You are not the problem. You are the test. You are the invitation. You are the fire that reveals the eternal from the temporary. From this moment forward, walk with your head high. Do not apologize for being the flame. Do not shrink to be tolerable. Do not dim to be digestible, because if someone cannot handle the heat, they were never meant to hold the honor of your presence. And now, to seal this truth, I ask you to take a final prophetic act. Comment the number 99 below. Why 99? Because it is the number of divine completion. The sign that heaven is closing the doors to anyone who could not steward your love and opening the gates to those who are purified and ready. It means your heart is no longer a playground. It is a temple. It is a throne room. It is guarded by fire, protected by angels, and reserved for the worthy. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. Not for me, but as a declaration that you're walking fully into your assignment, that you're choosing to live with awareness, with boldness, and with honor for what you carry. Chosen one, never forget what they touched when they touched you. Never forget what burns through your veins. Never forget the cost of being loved by a vessel of heaven, because to be loved by you is to be given one of the rarest gifts this earth will ever see, the chance to be changed by truth itself. And those who can stand in that flame, those who can walk through the heat and stay, they won't just be loved, they will be transformed. And that, chosen one, is why loving you is dangerous. But it's also the most powerful blessing anyone could ever receive. Stay burning, stay holy, stay set apart.